My viewers, good day.
You're live now.
Good day, my viewers, my esteemed viewers, my distinguished viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Family Robust with Janet Ajubiwe. I'm a family coach. I'm a rescue agent on a global mission. So wherever I need to be, I must be there. Wow, Family Robust is a reality. Yes. Family robust is a reality. But do you know what? There's no magic in it. Not at all. There's no magic in it. It's not magic. We all have to work towards it. That's why today I've brought in a rare gem, a marriage counselor, somebody who will impact you. And so I'm not talking about an ordinary person. I went in search of her because I've been hearing about her. She has been shown on many platforms, international platforms. I said, oh, please come my platform too. And she's so kind. She granted me a yes because of my esteemed viewers. Kindly welcome my guest for today on Family Robust, Taiye Aluko. I would like you to know some things about her. A lot of things about her, but you wouldn't know all just by introduction. When she's speaking, you would know too many things about her. Yeah, Taiye Aluko is a happy home builder. In fact, she sees herself as a bridge helping people across from the ignorance from ignorance of family, from ignorance of marriage to awareness, from hopelessness to hope and discomfort to ease. She's on a mission to help couples, individuals find happiness and bliss in marriages so that they can flourish in their life. Wow, I have many things here to say about her, but please join me, give me a clap, a shout out to my guest for today, Madam Taiye Aluko. You are welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much.
today we
Thank you.
want to. Yeah. So
Thank you
today
for
we want to speak on how to avoid seasonal love syndrome. There are different seasons. In fact, Valentine is around the corner. You see a lot of love, 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 love here. I love you, I love you, I love you. Please, whereas all this I love you, I love you, where have they been? Why is there love syndrome, seasonal love syndrome? We need to address this. But before you go on why, you need to tell us, my audience, what exactly is this love syndrome? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So please come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Mrs. Ajubiwe. First of all, let me say thank you for having me. I don't consider this a light issue at all. It's a privilege, it's an honor to be on this esteemed platform. You know, I went online and I saw all the great works you are doing. And I'm like, this woman is a powerhouse. This woman is a powerhouse, and I pray that the Lord will continue to honor you. The Lord will continue to increase the oil that flows on your head, you know, and the Lord will continue to make you a sign and a wonder even in this generation, because the work you're doing is not small at all. And I also have to celebrate you because this is my very first time on YouTube Live. I've never been on YouTube Live before, so it's a first for me, and I'm very excited about it. And you know, when we were speaking and you talked about seasonal love syndrome, I was like, wow, this is a topic I've never even, you know, considered before. And it sounds so interesting that there's a thing called seasonal love syndrome. And it really got me thinking. And I'm like, I was so excited to even just explore it. And so today we are going to be looking at this very, very interesting topic of what you call seasonal love syndrome. Seasonal love syndrome, and it's how to avoid it.
Yes.
That's what we want to look at. But you know, I want to start by looking at what is love. Because in that statement, you have the words love, you have the word season, and you have the word syndrome. And I want us to examine all three words before we now bring everything together. So, what is love? What are seasons? And what is a syndrome? These are all the things that we're going to first look at. And I've looked at love from three angles. I first of all looked at the way the Greeks defined love, because the Greeks categorized love into three main ways. And for the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, they say love is in three categories. You have the eros love, you have the philia love, and you have the agape love. So the eros love is really romantic love. Is sexual love, is love that is fueled by chemistry and passion, and is erotic love. And for the philia, is love between lovers. For the philia love, you have what you call emotional love. So philia is friendship love. Philia is intimate connection of the heart love. It's love between brother and brother, sister and sister, brother and sister, and it also exists between husband and wife. And then you have what you call agape. And agape, as we all know, is God's love. It's sacrificial, it is unconditional. And in most instances, is unmerited. It's the love that God shows to us. And you know what? In marriage, all three of these loves are important and necessary. All three of them are important and necessary. But even though they have their order of importance, but all three are important and necessary. So that is looking at love the way the Greeks have defined it. Now, I want to also now look at what the dictionary says about love, because I believe that it's important for us to understand love, for us to know the one that is seasonal and the one that is not seasonal. So if you look at what the dictionary is saying, the dictionary says, and I'm just going to share three. It says that love is a profoundly tender, passionate affection for another person. That's what the dictionary says. It also says that love is a feeling of warm personal attachment or deep affection, as like for a parent to a child, for a husband to a wife, for child to parents, for within siblings. And then it says, defines love as sexual passion or desire. Now, if you look at these three definitions, you see that something is common among them. And that's the fact that in the dictionary, more often than not, they attach love to feelings. They define love by feelings. Dictionary defines love by either feelings of affection or feelings of passion. And yes, there is an element of feelings when we talk about love, because we are feeling beings. And so yes, there's definitely an element of feeling, but feeling is not the totality of love, because feelings are very fleeting. Feelings are transit. Feeling is here today, gone tomorrow. So we cannot base the totality of our understanding of love on feelings alone. So love is more than feeling. And now I want to look at love as described in the Bible. So I've looked at love as the way the Greeks talk about it. Now I've looked at the way the dictionary talks about it. And I want to go to the Bible, because I believe that the foundation is in the Word of God. Now, if you look at John 3:16, it says that this is how you know what love is. I'm quoting John 3:16, NIV version. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us. And we ought to lay down our life for our brothers and sisters. So he said Jesus Christ laid down his life for us. Now, what I pick from that statement is that there was a giving. So that in love, there is a giving, because Jesus Christ gave his life. Then it also shows you that there is a sacrifice, because that act of giving his life was a sacrifice. So we are seeing the things that make up love. There was a giving, there was a sacrifice. He laid down his life and he did it for us. So you can see the sacrificial nature of love. Then if you look at 1 John 4:9-11, also I'm reading from the NIV. It says, this is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him, also giving and also sacrifice. And it says in verse 10, this is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us. So in other words, even before we were capable of loving God, he first loved us. Unconditional nature of love. So I'm just trying to let you see the elements of love, of agape love, of true love. And then if you look at 1 John 4, it says, whoever does not love does not know God. God is love. God is love. So, and that caps it. That when you are talking about what is love, just go to God. It says God is love. And so we know from the Bible that God is love. And so understanding the nature of God helps us to understand what love truly is. Because love is God's nature. And one thing that we know about God's nature is that God's nature is unchanging. He says, I am the Lord, I change not. God's nature is not seasonal. God's nature is not seasonal. And so the love that is rested and anchored on God is not a seasonal love. It's extremely important to know that. Now, what is a season? Because we are talking about season. What is a season? Now, I also went to the dictionary to look for the definition of the word. And I found in most of the cases, they used weather to define season. They talked about season based on weather. So let's look at some of the definitions that I found. It says, each of the 4 divisions of the year, a season is each of the 4 divisions of the year. If we're talking about winter, they're talking about summer, they're talking about fall and spring. So if you live abroad, you have 4 seasons. If you live in Africa, at least in West Africa, this part of Africa, you have rainy season, you have harmattan season. You have dry season, you have wet season. So those are seasons. And then a season can also be like an event, a period, like you have Christmas season, you have Easter season.
Yeah.
So those are seasons. Then season can also be stages in life. Like for instance, you have people say the millennials. The millennials are people who are in a particular season of life because of their age bracket. We have people say Gen Z. Gen Z is also a people who are in particular season of life because of their age bracket. So you say the 20s, they're in their early 20s, they are Gen Z. They are in their mid 30s, they are millennials. Now, I don't know what they call our own season, we that we're in our 50s, but we all have seasons. And that one is now age-related season. So season, so when you look at this thing, simply means season is a period of time. Season is a period of time. Seasons come and seasons go. So you have harmattan season, it doesn't last. It will give way to rainy season. Rainy season will come, it will give way to harmattan. You have winter, winter gives way to spring. Spring gives way to summer. So seasons come and go, they don't last. And usually one season leads to another. That is the thing about season. Season is transient. It's not fixed. It doesn't last. And even in the age, we go from one season to another as we get older. So before you know it now, we'll be in the octogenarian age, because by the time you are going from 50 to 60 to 70 to 80, you have passed through several seasons of life. So that's season. Now let's look at the word syndrome. And then we bring it all together. So when I looked for syndrome, I didn't find any positive definition of the word syndrome. The definition defines syndrome as something negative. Now, it said syndrome is a combination of medical problems that show the existence of a particular disease or mental condition. You can see that is negative. Medical problem showing disease or mental condition. Another definition said syndrome is a type of negative behavior or a type of mental state that is typical of a person in a particular situation. So the definitions of syndrome were saying that it is something that is not positive. And so if you now look at the three together, we're now talking about season, love, and syndrome. We want to look at what is seasonal love syndrome. What is seasonal love syndrome? Now, my definition when I look at it is seasonal love. I will say it is a love that is conditional. It's a love that is based on circumstances. A love that has expiry dates. A love that can be withdrawn after certain events happen. It's a love that doesn't last. It's a love that is based on circumstance. It's a love that is based on situation. It's a love that is even based on location. It's a love that is based on your location. And I'll give you some examples. Now, I can remember when I was doing my youth service many years ago. We get to the youth camp, we meet new people. Before you know it, boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl. But immediately they leave that camp, they go their separate ways. The love they experienced when they were in camp, it was a seasonal love. And it was simply because they were both confined to that space during the youth service. The same thing, if we go to university, we meet people in university. Sometimes the relationships we form, they are seasonal because after the university life, we go our separate ways. So it was in the season when we were in the university that love took place. Look at events like Big Brother, when they put people in the house and say stay there for 90 days. Then before you know it, they start falling in love. But the minute the show is over, they go their separate way, the love dies. It was a seasonal love. It was not an unconditional love because it was based on circumstance, it was based on situation. It was based on the stage in life that you were at the time. So seasonal love is very situational. It's not permanent, it doesn't last. It doesn't last at all. And it can happen because you are passing through a phase in life. Seasonal love also occurs during festive period. For instance, abroad, when it's coming to winter, people are looking for love because winter is very cold, especially when you are not in the Lord, when you are not a believer. In this part of the world, Valentine is coming.
They want to use their body to warm themselves.
You understand? They want to use their body to warm each other up. Now we have Valentine around the corner. People don't want to spend Valentine's Day alone. They are looking for love. They are like, hey, Valentine season, oh, I must do couple, I must do couple. That is a seasonal love. It's based on the season that is coming. Simply because you don't want to be alone, or you don't want to be like, all your friends are going out with their boyfriend or their girlfriend. You will not be the only one that will not have somebody. You latch on to the next person you see, simply because you don't want to be alone. So those are instances of seasonal love. Now, what is now seasonal love syndrome? But remember, we've already looked at the word syndrome and we see that is a negative word. What makes seasonal love a syndrome? Because the truth of the matter is that seasonal love is a syndrome, and a syndrome is not a good thing. So what is it that makes it a syndrome? It's a syndrome because love is not meant to be seasonal. Love is not meant to be seasonal. And so for the fact that it is seasonal, it is an abnormality. Because the way God designed love, He didn't make it to be seasonal. Love is meant to be enduring because love is foundational. And you know, when you put the foundation of a building, that foundation stays. The only way you can uproot it is if you uproot the building and you now uproot the foundation. So love is foundational and it's meant to be enduring. So any love that is not enduring is a seasonal love syndrome. There's a problem with that love. And remember, when we go back to the definition of love, we say God is love. He says, I am the Lord, I change not. My nature is love. So love is not something that changes. His unconditional love for us doesn't change. So there's no amount of sin that we can commit that God will say, my love now, it used to be 100%, is now 30%. His love remains constant, regardless of the sin, regardless of the offense. He might be offended with us, but he doesn't love us less. And so it's the same thing with love. The mere fact that it is seasonal means that something is wrong with it. Something is wrong with the kind of love that is seasonal. And that is why it is called seasonal love syndrome. You know, and so it's important that singles are wary. Singles need to be careful of who they align with. They need to be very careful. You know, married people are already married. They're already inside. But the single person has a chance to shine his or her eye well, and be very, very careful. They have a chance to shine their eye. I'm sorry, there's a noise at the back. I hope it's not interrupting. You know, so when it comes to, so now we want to look at how it comes about. No. How do we get entangled in seasonal love? The truth of the matter is that everybody wants to be loved. There's nobody that doesn't like love. We all like love. Everybody wants love. And so, in our quest to look for love, sometimes we make mistakes. And we'll get to the reason why we make them. We want to be cherished. Remember that God did not create us to exist alone. He created us to have relationship. Even if we go back to the first man, Adam and Eve, he said, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper. And that's how everything started. So we're created to have relationship. So we have that yearning because we want to be loved. And so sometimes when we are seeking love, we make mistakes, especially if we don't get our own foundational essence right. We go and we make mistakes, we get entrapped, we feel that this person that is coming to me is offering me love, meanwhile it might just be seasonal love. And so how does that happen? I would say that when you don't understand who you are and who you have been created to be, there's a danger of you getting entangled with physical love. So when you don't understand who you are, people will tell you who you are not, and you will believe them that that is who you are. And so it's
That's the point, man. Cover yourself before you find love, before love finds you.
Yes,
Thank you.
very
Thank
important,
you.
very important. So understanding who you are, who are you? You must first of all find out before you go looking for love. Know yourself, and the Bible makes it clear what our identity is. There are so many scriptures. It says, I am created in the image and likeness of God. He made me in his image and in his likeness. So I know what I look like. If I know who God is, I know what I look like. He also says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Because when people get entrapped, it's also because self-esteem issues come up. When you are you are feeling less than who you are, who you have been created to be. So it's important to understand who you are, and then also the value you carry. The value you carry. Because if you don't know the value you carry, you will just useless yourself anyhow. Now, if you know that a diamond is very precious, you know the value of a diamond, you won't keep that diamond anyhow. You will treat that diamond with all respect. You will make sure that nobody touches it anyhow. You will keep it in the best place in your house. The same thing with yourself. You are more valuable than the most valuable diamond. So when you understand your value, you'll be very careful with the people that you align yourself with. And you'll be very careful with the people that you allow into your life as a single person. Now, how do we fall into seasonal love? When we don't set standard for ourselves. When we don't set standard for ourselves. When you have set standard for yourself, the people that will come into your life, you have already weeded out some of them. Because they will look at you and say, this one doesn't take nonsense. So, I know that I'm not serious. I won't go her way or I won't go his way because this one doesn't take nonsense. And then also being at the wrong place can lead you into seasonal love. When you are in the wrong place and you are mingling with people who are seasonal in nature, there's no way you will not join yourself with a seasonal lover. But when you are associating with people who are focused, vision driven,
Okay. Oh, The network. Oh, I believe she will be right back again. I don't know. Well, okay, it's the network that just interrupted. So while she was talking, she has been talking to us about, in fact, I was just jotting. My jotter is almost full up now. I've been flipping through the pages I have been jotting. So she told us about what the seasonal love is, and for love to be seasonal, that means it is a syndrome on its own, because syndrome is a negative thing. You know that. God help us. Oh. So she's been addressing the singles before you fall into these traps. She was telling us about a lot of things. She has discussed about discovering yourself. She has discussed about working on yourself. Discover yourself first. Who are you? Who are you? Honestly speaking, you need to discover yourself. Who do you want to be? You need to discover yourself. Work on yourself first before you be looking for somebody to love me. Because if you have already discovered yourself, there are a lot of things that will come your way that you yourself, you have to weed it. In fact, all the situations around you would have weeded those things away. So seasonal love can occur to anybody who has not discovered himself, especially singles now. I'm sure when she comes on stage, she will come and talk to us. I mean, we married. We can be easily carried away with work, with parenting, with a lot of things, and we forget about our love life every day. I mean, the daily. So she's trying to come up now. We forget about. Oh, hallelujah! She's here. She's here. She's there, and I know she's well loaded.
The enemy is a liar.
Well
Oh my,
loaded. Wow,
um,
welcome back. Welcome
thank
back.
you,
Thank you. Thank you. Don't worry. We have started revising all that you have taught us. So we are good
thank
to go
you.
again. You have talked to the
Wow,
singles.
wow.
I would want you to also balance it with
I will.
the married. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. The system just went off. My apologies for that.
Oh,
Okay, so
no problem.
so I was talking about how it comes about, and I want to now talk about who can be victim of seasonal love. Who can be victim? And the truth of the matter is that anybody and everybody can be a victim, both the single and the married.
The
The
married.
single and the married. And you might be wondering, how is it possible for a married person to be victim of seasonal love? The truth is that many married people are experiencing seasonal love. Many, many. In fact, what happens is that after you have, when you are dating, caught engagement, the love is still hot and is burning in your body. And then you get married, year one, year two is still hot and burning in your body. By the time you are getting to year three, before you know it, something is happening, changing in the relationship. And that's when seasonal love begins to manifest, begins to display itself. So how can it happen in marriage? It occurs in marriage and it is extremely dangerous because seasonal love in marriage can lead to the breakdown of the marriage. It can lead to the crash of the marriage. Remember we said syndrome is not a good word. Seasonal love in marriage can lead to the crash. So what are the types? When in marriage, seasonal love happens when couples are no longer loving unconditionally. Remember we said love is unconditional, and we looked at the types of love necessary in marriage. We talked about eros, philia, and agape. And agape is really the love that sustains long-term relationship because it's the unconditional love, is the love that is self-sacrificing. It is the love that regardless of what your partner or your spouse does to you, You have made a commitment to love. So you are choosing to love, just the way God chooses to love us, even in our imperfect state. And so in marriage, when love becomes conditional, it has entered the stage of seasonal love. Because marital love is not meant to be a conditional love. And I'll give you examples. When you were dating this lady, you like her, you know, beautiful, you liked her character, you liked everything about her. She had a wonderful figure eight. And then you people get married. And then year 1, year 2, she has a baby. Figure eight disappears. The figure is not like it used to be. Things are not what they used to be. All of a sudden, your love is flying out the window because she's not the figure eight that you married. You are saying, no, 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 no. You have to go back to your figure eight unless this will happen, unless that will happen, unless I won't do this, unless I won't do that. You have made your love to be conditional. So the minute the figure eight disappeared, your love is also disappearing. That's a seasonal love. Another example of seasonal love is even women. Maybe when you met him, he had a good job. Life happens. The man loses a job. And then before you know it, this loving wife becomes a nagging and complaining wife. Meanwhile, what was the vow that we took? We took a vow for better, for worse. And so those are some of the examples of seasonal love. What about when children arrive? That's a big one. We pray for the blessing of the fruit of the womb. But the truth is that the blessing of the fruit of the womb has separated many men and women, many husbands and wives. Because what happens? The love, all of the love is transferred to the children. And none is left for husband to give to wife, wife to give to husband. Your love has entered the stage of being seasonal. Unfortunately, these children are only passing through your house. They are not there forever. So when they leave, what is left? Two strangers living together because they were operating on seasonal love. And then you also have instances of sickness. We don't pray for it, but it happens. You have instances when suddenly the man is preferring his work to his wife, or the woman is preferring her career to her husband. Seasonal love. Your love is no longer unconditional. It's based on condition. Or you have instances where they say things like, no, 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 no. If you don't do it this way, this is the way I want you to do it. And if you don't do it this way, I'm sorry, I cannot show you the love. That. I went up again. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Please, you can repeat it again because it froze.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard me say, madam? Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
I said, what was the last?
Coming up. It's coming up, ma.
Okay. 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 So I don't know where I went off, so that I can start from where I went off.
You have started talking about health issues. You talked about yes. Parenting when children. Yes.
Yes. So I said in sickness also you have seasonal love. So you have maybe the man is sick or the woman is sick, and all of a sudden you're like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. And you have many couples. That happens a lot. So those are different instances of how seasonal love happens in marriage. And even you find couples growing apart when your job becomes more important than your spouse or your family. So, you know, because marriage also has seasons and stages. So for every season and stage, it's important that you are aware that our relationship is transiting, so that you don't avoid the trap of seasonal love, because your relationship continues to change. We are not static, even in the relationship of marriage. And when I talk to couples all the time, I hear stories, and I just see that this, and I won't say that I put the name seasonal love to it then, but now it's making me to see what exactly is going on in those relationships, that they're beginning to experience seasonal love. When the things you used to do for each other, you don't do it again. It's becoming like it's too much stress. Seasonal love syndrome is at work, because love.
The season is passing.
Yeah, the season is starting. And so now I want us to go to how do you avoid it? And I'll break it into the single and the married. It's not
very necessary.
Not the same for the single as it is for the married. So I'll break it into that. Now,
yes,
for the single, it's important, like I said before, you must know who you are. Who are you? Understand who you are. Because when you understand your identity, you will know that there are certain things that do not speak to your identity, and you will avoid those things. Your identity affects the decisions you make. Your identity affects the work, the way you talk, the way you relate to people. So understanding your identity and understanding what you carry on the inside of you is very, very, very important for the single person to avoid seasonal love. If you don't know who you are, you understand, you will walk anyhow. And then also, which is another very fundamental thing, and I teach this in couples counseling, premarital counseling. What are your values? What are your values? Understanding your values helps you to separate yourself. Because when you have a conversation on values, values are simply those things that are most important to me. So you are checking everybody based on your own values as a single person. If this is the kind of person that, does things anyhow, and you know that you don't do things anyhow, then you have no business in relationship with them. Because likely, if you get into a relationship, it will be a seasonal relationship, because your values are not the same. Your values will clash. So what are your values? What do you stand for? Who are you? What are your values? What is your vision? What is your goal for life? What is your purpose? Because when you are walking the path of purpose, you are very circumspect in your walking. When you are walking the path of purpose, you are very focused as a single. You don't entangle yourself with anybody. You don't entangle yourself with everybody. And the beauty about purpose, people recognize the people who are walking with purpose. You recognize them. And so only serious people will come and meet you, because they see that this one is purpose-driven and purpose-focused. Only serious people will come and meet them. And then, very important, and that's why I took time to define what love is. For you to avoid seasonal love as a single, you must know what love is not, and you must know what love is. And that's why I took time to explain love, because a lot of people do not know what love is. If you ask them, what is love? They say, it's a passionate feeling. Love is not a passionate feeling. Feeling is very fickle. Feeling goes away. Feeling disappears. So if you don't know what love is, you can fall into the trap of seasonal love. But when you understand love, you will avoid the trap of seasonal love as a single. And then also something very, very important for singles, don't be caught up in social media hype. Don't be caught up with social media lifestyle.
You got it, ma. Jesus.
Social media is not real life, it's not real life. So you go on Instagram and
please tell them very well. Let me put the microphone well.
You hear them say couple goals. What is couple goals? No two couples are the same. No two marriages are the same. Do not use another couple as goals for your life. So if you want to avoid falling into seasonal love, these are things that you must be mindful of. Don't get caught up in social media. It's not a real life. Social media life is not real life. This thing called couple goals is a myth. To each man his own relationship, because no two people are the same. So that is for the singles. Now, what about for the married? What about for the married? And when it comes to married people, I have to say that it's a bit tricky. It is tricky because they're already in it. And honestly, when it comes to marriage, I always say that you can take a horse to the river, you can't force him to drink. You can't force him to drink. And so for the married, willingness is key. If there's no willingness, it becomes difficult. Willingness to, first of all, recognize what is wrong with your marriage, and willingness to want to make amends is very important. And you know, I say to the married people that a lot of times intervention is necessary. A lot of times you might need an independent third party to help you step in. Because when people begin to tell their stories, and this one doesn't understand why you are making noise, this one doesn't understand why you don't understand what I'm going through, you need an observer, an independent person that can give you feedback. And so, you know, most times the party that is giving or exhibiting seasonal love, if it doesn't accept the fact that it's exhibiting it, it can be problematic. But the truth is that there's nothing prayer cannot handle. And so I will always talk about the place of prayer and the place of the word of God. So the man, the woman who is ready to go down on their knees and be consistent in the place of prayer, God can turn things around. But do not expect overnight changes, because it's a process. You know, people, we are set in our ways. So change doesn't happen overnight. It usually follows a process. So there's that process that will happen. Now, but where there's a willingness, where there's an acknowledgement of there's a problem in this marriage, we are both willing to work on it, it is easier to handle. So the starting point is both of you talking about it. If you are able to have that conversation successfully by yourselves, it's fine. But if you are not, a counselor will always be a helpful addition to the conversation. Because then the counselor will hold you accountable for the behavior changes that need to occur. Because in that instance, there will be behavior changes that need to occur. Because remember, love is expressed in behavior. And so when we say seasonal love, it means that certain behavior you used to do that shows love, you have stopped doing them, you have withdrawn them.
You're no longer doing it.
You are no longer doing it.
Yes.
So behavior change needs to occur. And so sometimes you need someone to hold you accountable to ensure that you have set the goals and you are following through on those goals. And you know, I like to say one thing. I say, you know, don't let marriage happen to you. Take charge of your marriage. Because God will not come down from heaven to your marriage for you. You must be intentional, you must be deliberate, you must take charge. You must have a plan of how we want this marriage to work. It's not just as we wake up today, we will just do it. As we wake up tomorrow, we just do it. No, you must have a plan. And so for couples who have acknowledged, theirs is easier because they have both acknowledged that, hey, this thing, something is happening. This is not what it used to be before. Then they can now begin a journey of understanding themselves. What are your love languages? Very important. Because, you know, we are talking about love. So love that is not expressed in the language that your partner understands, there will be a disconnect. So you now want to understand the love language of your spouse for you to be able to communicate love effectively. What is my spouse's love language? So that I'm not in a trap of seasonal love. Because if my love language is physical touch, or my love language is words of affirmation, And you have been buying me gift, buying me gift, buying me gift. You have never said a kind word to me. I will not feel the love. I'll be in a state of
You have
seasonal
not
love.
told me I love you.
Exactly. You have not told me you are looking beautiful. You are not told me you are the best woman in the world. You are amazing. Now you now buy a very expensive perfume. I will receive the perfume, but I will still feel unloved. I will still feel unloved. So, so for that couple, they can start the process of let us rediscover the love, because love can be reignited. It can be reignited, it can be rediscovered. Remember, love is unconditional, is unchanging. It's just that we lost connection with the love, and we can get that connection back, because nothing happened to the love. The love did not change. We lost the connection with it. And so, schedule date nights. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. You can plan for date nights. You can say, okay, your birthday is coming up. I never used to pay attention to it before. I want to start paying attention. Set a reminder in your phone. This birthday is coming, so that I do something on the birthday. Valentine is coming. So make those seasons, Christmas season, make it an event. Easter season, make it an event. People that have good marriages, you don't see the work that they are doing behind the scenes, but they are actually putting in work. A good marriage does not fall from heaven. Somebody is doing a work to make it a good marriage. And so those are some of the things that can be done. Not exhaustive, because we don't have all the time, but these are tips of some of the things that can be done. And then also, it's very fundamental that, I always say that what you don't have, you cannot give. So at every point in time, you as a person, you must check the state of your heart. Because if I'm empty on the inside, I can't give love. So that means that everybody work on themselves. You know how you say when you are pointing a finger at somebody, there's one finger pointing back at you. You go and work on yourself. Because when you bring your best self into marriage, somebody will enjoy that your best self. So when the two of you bring your best selves into your marriage, both of you will enjoy your best selves. So, that is in a nutshell is what, for the tips that I can give for avoiding it. Now, you talked about tips for singles, because, I know that it's not always easy, particularly for, when you are like, maybe like, what's the word they use now, a mature single. What is it that singles can do? I say that the season of singlehood, honestly, is one of the best days of the best season of your life. Because that is the time when you can explore yourself, discover yourself, know yourself, and enjoy life as a single. Because once you are married, as a woman in particular, your life is no longer your own. Your life belongs to the children, your life belongs to the husband. It's no longer your own life. But as a single, you can discover yourself. The danger of discovering yourself when you are married is that what if you now find out that you married the wrong person because your vision does not align? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like you get into a boat with somebody.
Yes.
The boat is going to Kutuwenji. Meanwhile, God called you to go to Burkina Faso, but you have already entered the boat going to Kutuwenji. What do? You can't get down from the boat now. So the single person has that opportunity to go on a journey of self-discovery while waiting for the love that is not seasonal, while waiting for the one. They have an opportunity to discover what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what they like doing. When you are married, for the married, all of a sudden you don't have so much time to spend with your female friends, your girlfriends anymore, because you have husband, you have wife. If you are like Pastor, you have the congregation to serve. So you don't have so much time for your girlfriends, but as a single person, you can spend time with your girlfriends. I know when I look back at my yes, pick up your bag, you go as you want to go. You can spend time with your girlfriends. doing things that interest you, knowing that when you are married, those times will become precious memories. Then you can volunteer. There's a lot of volunteering that you can do. I remember a couple that I counseled, I think 4 years ago now. The lady used to be very active in church as a single lady, very active in church activities. And then they got married. Her husband that she married is also a worker, but he was not as active as she was. And then they got married. And after the marriage, I remember a few months into marriage, she called me and said, that is like he doesn't want her to be as active as she used to be before. You know, that it's like he's complaining that she's too active, she's too out there, and all of that. And I said to her, well, your life is in a different season now. The most important people is your husband and your home. So if he says he don't want you to be so involved in church activities, obey him. The season has changed. So for the single person,
as long as it's not God.
Exactly. As long as it's not God. So as a single, you have the opportunity to volunteer, to go to do church activities as you like, join drama group, join choir, you have the opportunity to explore, to travel. If you're the type that likes to travel and you can afford it, you have the opportunity to travel. So there's so much you can do as a single person to develop yourself. You can start your own business. You can write a book. You can launch a podcast. So that when the man comes, he meets you doing all these things. He has more respect for you. He sees the value that you carry. You are more attractive, particularly as a woman, because he met you doing something. You're not just sitting there waiting for, hey, come. You are now sitting down static. So those are all the things that singles can do. And even for the married who are experiencing seasonal love, you need to learn to find happiness within yourself. Don't hinge your happiness on another person, even when that person is your spouse. Because you see, it's only God that we can rely on 100%. The arm of flesh
will not fail us.
Yes. Your husband, your wife is an arm of flesh, and the arm of flesh can fail. Can fail. So don't rely 100% your happiness on them, because the day they disappoint you, what happens to your happiness? You have to find your happiness from your source, your maker. So that even if things are happening that you don't like in your marriage, you are still grounded, because your source is unchanging. Your source is not a seasonal source. God is not seasonal. So that anchor is very important for the married, So lastly, I just want to say that love is not meant to be seasonal. Love is not meant to be seasonal. So any love that is demanding that you do this before you can have this is a seasonal love syndrome. Any love that is saying you should lose weight before you can be good enough for me is a seasonal love syndrome. Any love that is saying, if you don't live in this kind of house before I can be interested in you, is a seasonal love syndrome. Any love that is constantly telling you all the things that are not good about you is a seasonal love syndrome. It is a problem love. Any love that is already abusing you, you have not entered the marriage, already abusing you physically, they are abusing you verbally, is a seasonal love syndrome. You need to run 440. Carry your two left legs and run, because love is constant in and out of season. In and out of season, love is constant. It changes not. And the Bible tells us love is patient, love is kind, love endures, love suffers long. It has given us a description of the love. The nature of God is love. It's not conditional. Love is not conditional, it's unconditional. And so I say as my last word, don't fall for the hype. Don't fall for the hype. Don't be blinded by social media, couple goals. Those things are not love. Don't be blinded by all the drama of proposal that they do now. Those things are also not love, Know your identity. Know who you are. Know who you are. God will
Oh
deliver
God.
seasonal love and rescue the marriage. Love. Thank you very much, Pastor Mrs. I think I will stop there.
I salute you, ma. I salute you, ma. God has used you for us today. In fact, I've jotted what I'll tell my husband today. What we have to improve on, As I'm blessing others, I have to be blessed too. That is it. That's life. Iron sharpeneth iron.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Let me give you a standing ovation. Woo!
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
You have really loaded us. You have blessed us today. God has used you for us today. Oh, there's no doubt. My heart bless you back.
Amen.
You'll be replenished in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for not being selfish. Thank you so much for not keeping all this to yourself. For coming to Family Robust to come and share with us. Thank you so much. Wow. I wanted to have drafted some things that I will contribute, but there's nothing to contribute for now. Hey, please. All I just want to us is let's go and love. Let's love. Let's continue to love lavishly. Love is not because of money. Love is priceless. All we just need to do is love and express it. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Express it to your spouse. Express it always. Even to your children. Express it always. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I'm super excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, we have almost spent 1 hour. You won't believe it. And it's just like 30 minutes gone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Taiye Aluko.
Congratulations on the launch of your YouTube channel.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Here we go. So, to everyone who is watching and those who will be watching, make sure you subscribe because there are many more people that will be coming on board. Subscribe, and turn on your notification button so that you don't miss all these good things. Family Robust is a reality, but it is not magical. Hey, you see one family that is good, that is beautiful, well looking. Don't think it's just like they are working on it. So work on yours. That's why you need to always be here anytime we have our program. Thank you, Madam. God bless you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you. So till the next video that will be coming, and I'm telling you, will be coming up again and again and again and again to come and address these issues about family, about individuals, about your relationships, about parenting, about your health, finance, law, love, a lot of things. We have them, we'll keep them coming your ways by God's grace, by God's grace. Today has been a great day. Today has been wonderful. God bless you. God bless you for watching. Thank you. Thank you again. Have a great day. God bless you.